All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Ryan Morrison, and today's guest is Jordan Morgan. He's a pro basketball player, engineer, and founder who's redefining what it means to live a multi-dimensional life. From dominating courts across the globe to launching Spin.Travel and mentoring Detroit youth, he's proof that purpose travels well. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Man, I feel like as a podcast host, your job is always to make people sound cooler than they are. So I thank you for the intro, man. I appreciate it.
You're
Happy
welcome,
to be
man.
here.
Yeah, man. I'm super grateful to meet you and excited to talk about your life. I mean, we were able to get connected recently. Shout out to Tim Moore from bringing us together.
Shout out Tim, yeah.
And we met actually not in Michigan or Ann Arbor where we are right now, but at GEC. So let's just talk about that real quick. What were you doing out there? Because that was serendipity at its finest.
I mean, you said purpose travels well, right? So funny story. I mean, the ultimate reason that I was out there was business. If I would be completely honest, I'm trying to really get connected and immersed in like the local entrepreneurial ecosystem, whether that's in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Midwest. Wanted to get some FaceTime with some people there, and was working on a specific partnership. And so I just hopped in the car and drove down and said, "Hey, we're gonna get some FaceTime."
Hey, that's the best way to do it, man.
Yeah, no, totally.
Did you see my article I put on LinkedIn about what my experience was out there at GC?
I did not, no.
Oh, dude. So I actually basically decided to go last minute with a caravan of people from Detroit and Michigan. Yep. And I gave myself a restriction. So are you familiar with Damon John's book, The Power of Broke?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I
haven't read it, but I know the book, and I know that it's like his philosophy behind it.
Yeah, so basically the idea is, if anybody's out there, you should check it out. It's a great book. But the idea is that when your back is up against a wall, all you have is moving forward, right? So I gave myself $200 that I could use when I was out in Indy.
Okay.
And I had to cover lodging, food, transportation, anything with $200 for 3 days.
All right.
And on the bus out there, people were talking about, where you staying and how close is it, the venue and all that stuff. And Pete, who was just on my show, we just released it. He said, wait, where are you staying, Ryan? I was like, I don't have a place. And so he actually let me crash on his couch.
Well, that's a lot of money saved right there.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? But you got to send it when there's opportunity.
You got to send it. I'm in a similar place in my life right now where I've kind of put my own back against the wall. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Cool. So let's talk about you, man. So, I have grown to appreciate your founder, right? So we're going to talk about your founder journey. But before that, you went to U of M. You studied IOE, right? Industrial Operations Engineering. And you also were on the basketball team, which I'm a huge basketball guy. So that's awesome for me. I'd love to just hear more about what it was like balancing life, balancing school, balancing being a basketball player. Like, what was that experience like?
I mean, my answer has always been to people, like, if you enjoy it, it doesn't feel like work. So I was never a big social guy, high school, college. So for me, I always knew I wanted to study engineering. When I was getting recruited, like, I was considering top, like, educational schools. Like, I went to Michigan, but I was looking at Purdue and, like, Stanford and Notre Dame. Like, those are the kind of schools that I wanted to go to. So when I applied to U of M as a basketball commit, I applied to the College of Engineering. I was getting recruited for basketball, so I'd come up for basketball games for, like, recruiting. I also went to, like, the engineering school for, like, tech day and stuff. So engineering was just always a part of what I wanted to be. Like, it's just who I am. So it never felt like anything, like, it never felt like work or like some big thing to me. It was what I care about, and it was what I was passionate about.
Got it. So, I mean, that's really cool that you were so laser focused on not just being an athlete, right, but also being a well-educated man. So I guess for me, it's like, were you involved a lot in, like, hackathons or, what kind of stuff were you working on back in those days?
So, look, my parents were big education proponents. They sent me to UAD High School in Detroit. Shout out to UAD. And my dad told me, hey, school is your number one priority, and if you're good enough at basketball, they'll find you. That was what he said, right? And so, if I didn't take care of school, I didn't get to play sports. I didn't get to do anything. I get my, cell phone taken, those kind of things. And my dad was also an engineer. So, wow, I forgot the question.
Well, I was asking about, so you made education a priority, but I was asking you about, like, how did you leverage your education on campus? Were you involved in hackathons? Like, were you working on startups? What were you doing?
So actually, I did intern with some startups. So a few things that I did during my time on campus. Number one, I interned at Tech Arb, right? So I was interning with startups at the time, helping them with customer discovery, UI, UX testing, things like that. I did also get my certificate in entrepreneurship during my undergrad. So I was taking entrepreneurship classes, going to entrepreneurship hour, right? Like these kind of things. I knew, like, even though I was studying engineering, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I was doing all these things. I also did some different, like, internships around operations, around efficiency with local businesses, like the orthopedic, like orthotic center down in like South Industrial. Like I did a whole project with them, multiple projects with them around 3D printing, like cost benefit analysis of 3D printing, foot orthotics and prosthetics. I did engineering consulting with local businesses, like helping them implement lean manufacturing solutions into their production lines. Like those were the kind of things that I was doing, like in my summers. So yeah, I mean, I was involved for sure.
So you were super involved. You had all these projects and things you were working on. How did you balance that with the demands of being a basketball player with an elite college program?
So first and foremost, one of the best things I did was I just was full-time enrolled for 5 straight years. So from June of 2009 to May 2014, I was a full-time student that entire time. I didn't take one semester off, not spring, not summer, right? So I was always kind of like racking up extra credits during spring and summer semesters, which made it like easier to manage during the school year. I could take 12 credits and be okay. I go back to just choosing something that I was passionate about. I was doing IOE, which I like. I think that way, operationally, efficiency, right? But also,
wow, we have a crazy storm happening.
Yeah.
All right.
But also, like, I was taking, B school classes. I was taking management and marketing and entrepreneurship. So, like, I was taking things that were interesting to me and it gave me the chance to work on projects that were interesting to me. I had good mentors and advisors and friends and things like that we would do projects together that made it a lot easier.
Gotcha. I guess what I want to know too is, like, what is one moment in your career at Michigan that no stat sheet can capture in terms of the value that playing hoops and being involved in, different activities entrepreneurially was providing for you?
So as an athlete?
Take it wherever you want to take it, man.
Look, I mean,
any standout moments? I
got many standout moments.
Let's go.
For sure. A lot of people will remember this moment, and I still hear about it, to this day in Atlanta at the Final Four, taking the charge to send us to the national championship game. Very cliche, right? Yeah, again, most people remember that or think back to that in my career, but it was a significant moment because at the time I was sacrificing my own personal success for the success of the team. And in a time that was really difficult for me personally in doing that, I was able to still make a mark on like the legacy of like my time at Michigan. And it just was a testament to what like being selfless can do for you. And like now, like I said, like people still remember that moment, and all I cared about was the team in that moment. So that's a special moment for me. I think, the next season, like my senior day, I was like the only senior. So like that was a cool experience to like, share that with my teammates and my coaches and look back on the years that we spent like building the program up and like how valuable that time was for me. Other than that, you got like graduation and stuff. Like those were special moments with my friends and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. sharing in those moments. I think those like culminating moments for me are where it's really special, because like when you're going through it, it's just work and you just head down. So when you have the chance to like actually stop and reflect, like that's when it really means something.
Yeah. Who are the primary people in your life who are helping you to just elevate your game, elevate your education?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned your girlfriend, she's your wife now, so
Yeah.
I imagine she played a pretty big role.
She did. We did meet my senior year though, so she's been a very important part of my life, like, you know, the most important part of my life for a long time now. But you know, it starts with your parents. My parents were always there for me, and whether that's taking me to tournaments and stuff, you know, all the typical stuff people say. But I also think like beyond just like putting me in sports, like they held me to a high standard from as long as I can remember. And so when it came to being a college athlete or a professional athlete, it was normal. Like I felt prepared to be held to that same high standard. And so like their emphasis on education and just, you know, service and doing the right thing, those things carried with me through high school and into college, where, you know, I had other people, my coaches in high school, that I had coaches when I was young that would pick me up at 6 a.m. to practice before high school. Like those are the moments that make all of these things possible, right? And those coaches and stuff, they never get the recognition, like maybe publicly, but like there were years where I every day was getting picked up at 6 a.m. by my high school coaches to go work out before school started, right? And then you talk about college, right? Just college coaches and advisors and mentors. They really, like that's an important time, especially for a young man, where you learn how to be a man in the world. And I really commend, you know, Coach Beeline, you know, Jeff Meyer, Lavelle Jordan, Bakari Alexander, like all of those people, the CJ Lee and Travis Conlon. There were so many people, right? Like I could list them all, because we had this culture of like excellence and integrity and accountability that, you know, it was the reason for our success on the court, but it helped shape us all into like good men. And so like I'm grateful for that.
That's really cool, man. Is there any, you know, standout advice or standout, you know, moments? Because I'm sure there are many challenges and sacrifices and things you had to make. You said your dad, you know, he gave you, you know, said education comes first. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, were there any people at Michigan specifically, or even teammates, that there were kind of defining moments who kind of made you who you are?
Yeah, I mean, I think about my roommate when I got to college, who actually he passed away. So he really had a profound impact on me and my view of what it meant to really work at something. He showed me what it was like to work hard at something, and then he ended up getting drafted, right? And man, so yeah, I mean, you know,
take your time, man.
Yeah. So Darius Morris, we were roommates for 2 years, and our second year being roommates, he'd wake up every morning like 5 a.m. and like run to the gym, right? And I didn't do that, but I think watching him take that work into the success of that next season, and then go on to be drafted and play in the NBA, like that really inspired me to work harder. And I would say from that moment of him being drafted, I really like elevated my work ethic even more than I had, right? So that was when I really started to pick up how much I would work extra. Because the reality is, whatever you're doing, whether it's sports, entrepreneurship, doing what is required is not enough. So that was when that really sunk in for me, and that was when I started to do more than what was required, and you know, continue to elevate myself. And that stuck with me all the way through, you know, the next 3 years of college, and then the last 11 years as a pro. So that had a profound impact on me for sure.
Wow. Well, rest in peace.
Yeah, man. Seriously.
And I didn't know that story. So thank you for being vulnerable and sharing.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Let's talk about transitioning to pro.
Okay.
This is really exciting to me because you were able to play overseas. You played in the G League too, right?
I did, yeah.
But I'm really curious about your overseas experience because to me that was always a dream, probably never going to be a reality. But the reality is that because you were able to travel, I mean, you played in so many different countries, you experienced so much of the world. And I think that that's such a cool experience. And I'm sure people want to know, what that experience was like. And I'd be curious to hear if there's any particular country that taught you more about life that, stands out in your journey.
What was that like? We could probably do a whole series on playing overseas, especially for the 11 years that I played. But look, it's eye-opening. I think most American basketball players that go overseas will tell you that first trip overseas is a culture shock, no matter where you end up, because their way of life is completely different than ours in general, right? Especially in Europe, but pretty much anywhere. And then their like approach to sport and like it's also completely different. And so it can be a shock for a lot of people. Not to mention that, but it's the first time that you're outside of college and it's now a job. And like somebody told me once, like, this is the last time that, like, when in college, this is the last time that people will actually care about like your success, like your well-being. And I think one thing that I learned being a pro is people will love you. I mean, they can love you as a person and then cut you the next day. It doesn't matter. And it's really like, it's a really important lesson to learn and to understand that nobody's safe. It's very cutthroat. And you're away from your family for months and months at a time in a foreign place where nobody speaks the language. And you almost have, sometimes you have nobody to talk to or like it's just very challenging mentally. And I've seen a lot of players that are good players that don't want, like, either can't handle it or just don't want to do it because it's not easy. But if you can adapt, right, to the culture in the sport and learn to embrace the culture outside of your sport. So get outside, go meet people, go see things. It can be an extremely like rewarding experience, right? So I'm like immensely grateful for those years that I got because it definitely changed me as a person and my perspective on like relationships and the world and what's important in life and like so many things. I look at differently now because of my time I spent living in other countries. I mean, I think whether you play sports or not, living in other countries, it's like it's an important learning experience because what happens when you only live here is you can only look through this lens that we have, but the world doesn't. Most people don't look through the lens that we have. We're very privileged here, and so I'm really grateful for that.
So where'd you play?
So I played in Italy, France, Greece, Slovenia.
Oh, here we go.
Slovenia, Turkey.
For those on YouTube, we're pulling up
Russia.
Or for the audio version, we are pulling up his Wikipedia page here.
And South Korea. So played in 2 years in Italy, 2 years in Russia, 3 years in Turkey, 2 years in Greece, and 1 in South Korea. So and one in Slovenia. So yeah, I mean, it was quite the journey. Quite the journey.
So did you get a chance to explore the countries and different cities, or was it all focused on basketball?
Oh yeah, I mean, you have to like. So I credit my wife for this, right? Because I'm naturally a bit of a homebody and like not a super social person, and she would like come over and just refuse to sit in the house. She's like, we're in Italy, we're going out to see something. And she like, and whenever she would come over, because she would be back and forth for a lot of my career, she had a list of all these things that we're gonna do and see. And I will say, like, I gave her a hard time for a long time. Just like, yeah, I begrudgingly do a lot of these things. But then it got to the point where, like, I was like, I want to do this, and I want to, and so I do credit her for that, and I'm grateful that I had her to encourage me to do that, because it made the experience so much richer.
Yeah. So let's talk about those cities and countries. I'll come back to the original question, which is, which country taught you the most about life?
I like to think that they all taught me different lessons, first and foremost. I never wanted, it's like, the countries I played in, it's like choosing which, you can't say which kid is your favorite, So, I would say just being in Europe in general, but I would say like living in Italy for me is like peak life, because it's like, we'll get to it when we get to it. Like,
the stereotypes are true.
We're here. We're talking. Like, yeah, we're supposed to close at 5, but it's 4:30, and I want to go home, so we'll close. Like, I don't care. I want to be with my family. It's like, it's very opposite to like American ideals. I remember going to the bank one time, and it was like supposed to be open, but they were like closed, and it was just like, they were just like, come back tomorrow, right? Or just like, my wife, she was at the gym once, and they were like, hey, we close at 1:00. And she's like, yeah, it's 12:30. They're like, yeah, we want to leave at 1, right? So it's just like, it's very opposite. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad, but it's nice to like see that everybody, like, there's a juxtaposition, that there's like these difference in values. It makes you question, what you really value. One of the things that I took with me and my family took with us from our experience living in Italy was like, when we go to dinner, or like sit down for dinner, like, if you go to dinner in Italy, you might be there for 4 hours, and they're in no rush to go home, right? You start with your aperitivos and all this stuff. So, but they're there. You're with your friends. You're with your family. Like, I don't have something more important than this. This is what life is about for them, right? And so that's one thing that we took with us.
That's cool, man. Yeah, you hear the stories of like people just hanging out, drinking coffee, just
totally
laissez-faire, as they say, right? Yeah. And it's just, but it's cool to hear that there is a different type of lifestyle, because we have so much hustle culture, and especially if you're in the entrepreneurial world, like, that's the grind. Like, it's 24/7. Is there like any stories that stand out in either Italy or any of the other countries that changed you?
Oh man, changed me though. I mean, look, I had some very incredible experience. I was lucky enough this past weekend to see one of my friends who celebrated his 10 years of ordination as a priest, and I met him during my first season in Rome at the Pontifical North American College in Rome, which is where Americans go study to become priests at the Vatican. And for me, like, that was a really amazing experience, because I would go there on Sundays. We'd go to mass with all the people in seminary, and then we'd have like this American style breakfast, like at the Vatican. Like that was like, those are like golden memories. Like, you can't replace that. So I mean, I think stuff like that, it makes you realize that like money is great, but like life is about so much more than money, So those experiences like definitely stick with me.
That's cool, man. I really love that. All right, is there anything else you want to cover when we're on the basketball topic? Because I want to come back to some other things that you're involved in.
We can talk about whatever. I mean, like I said, we could do a whole season on basketball overseas if we wanted to.
I know. Let's talk about it offline, because I'm very invested into that.
Totally.
All right. Well, let's talk about your foundation.
Okay.
So Jordan Morgan Foundation.
Yeah.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about the inspiration for it. Talk a little bit about the purpose of it and the impact.
Well, you asked me earlier in the show, like, did anyone have an impact in my life? And one thing that I realized as I got older is there were many people that had an impact in my life. And I think, something you can't take for granted is how much one moment with somebody, especially like a young person, can change the trajectory of their life. And so like that's really the whole inspiration behind the Jordan Morgan Foundation, is trying to create more moments that can change trajectories, right? So
This is right here.
yes, granted we haven't been as active as we were at one point, but there was a point where we had hundreds of kids in programs at one time in the city of Detroit. So it became challenging, and then COVID comes and everything. So we shifted to more supporting programs where people were doing work versus hosting our own programming. But the goal of the foundation is leveraging me and my family's time and energy and my platform to invest in underrepresented, underserved communities, especially children, and giving them access to educational opportunities, because you can give a man a fish, right? We're trying to teach people to fish, so we're trying to give these kids access to programming around STEM and education and wellness, so they can live a better life, and that you build communities up from within.
And the work you're doing was primarily in Detroit, right?
Yes.
Or is primarily in
Yes.
Detroit. What's your ties to Detroit again? Are you from Detroit?
Yeah. So I grew up in Redford, and I went to UAD High School. So
Gotcha.
most of my whole childhood was spent in Metro Detroit.
What was that like?
I mean, it was a normal childhood. I wouldn't say like we weren't like super well off by any means, but like I also like, we were okay, right?
Yeah.
We were in a good, my dad was an engineer, so I'm not going to pretend like we had, we went hungry or anything like that. But that to me is home. I mean, Detroit is like, all my childhood memories and adolescent memories are like riding through the city, like with my friends, and like doing like reckless things, like stupid things with my friends. But Detroit is special to me for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited to tie the entrepreneurship conversation and Detroit conversation with you, because Detroit has changed a lot. And I'm not from Detroit, but you can hear about all the momentum and all the activity going on and investments going on in the community there. So I guess it's a natural segue to like, what are you hearing and seeing about the startup community in Detroit?
Look, I think I want to be candid, right? Like, as a founder, there's a ton of momentum in Detroit, first and foremost. And so many people, like a long list of people that are doing amazing work to try to push Detroit forward. And I commend that and respect that, because at one point Detroit was the center of the world, especially for innovation. So there's no reason that we shouldn't be at least in the conversation. And with the rapid change, excuse me. And with the rapid change that you see with technology nowadays, right? There's no reason that Detroit can't push itself into that discussion in the, being one of the front runners of like how we can leverage technology to reshape a city, right? But there's still a lot of work to be done. It's hard because success in entrepreneurship and venture and technology takes capital. And I think that a lot of people are doing things to work on that, but I think there's still, quite a ways to go.
Yeah, we need more of us to be successful, right? So that we can become, I think it takes like 100 millionaires or something like that. Like if you, to like build up like a really robust investing, infrastructure. So we just need people to be successful.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who are choosing to build here. They're going and raising capital elsewhere, but then calling Detroit and Michigan home. Mm-hmm. And I think that you're seeing more and more of that happening. We've been talking about it offline, right? Like raising, coming back. So I think that that's valuable, right? But the key to all of that is that people are choosing to stay here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or come back here.
And that's an important point, right? Like the quality of life, the cost of living, and especially in the future. I mean, global warming and stuff. Like Michigan is a great place to be, and it will become an even better and better place to be. So, yeah, I mean, many people are choosing to be here. It's great for family. It's great for seasons and weather and cost of living and just communities that you have here in Michigan.
And
right?
culture, man.
Yeah, culture.
Like the people in Michigan we're so humble. We're so welcoming.
Yeah.
Like people want to open the doors for you and
Totally.
feed you and help you.
Totally.
Which
Yeah,
I think is like, that's invaluable.
I was talking with an entrepreneur who came back from San Francisco after, 30 years. And he was just like, I'm so happy to be back. So, to your point though, like when it comes to like a place like San Francisco, like money is so easily accessible because there's so many successful people, right? And so we gotta do what we can to create more successful people, but it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, that's right. I want to come back to the question about growing up in Detroit and kids in Detroit and your foundation for a second. If a kid in Detroit watches your journey or listens to this episode, what do you hope that they take away?
So some important things that I like to tell the kids when I speak to them is, number one, you gotta have a vision for your future, right? I had a solid vision for my future, which is the reason that I stuck through engineering and basketball, because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to have that educational background. It's one of the reasons why programs like what we did and so many other youth programs are important, because I can't have that vision for myself if I don't see it. I was lucky enough that my dad was an engineer, so like I had that representation at home, right? So I would say number one is, and nowadays with the internet, like, what do you want to be when, like, it's a silly question, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? But seriously, like, what's your vision for your future? I think that's the most critical thing for any young person, because everything else follows that. If I have a vision for who I want to be and what I want to accomplish, that's the motivation that I need to stay in school and work through the subjects that I don't like, and go and take college seriously or trade school or whatever the case might be. If I don't have any vision for my future and I don't place any value in my future, now all of a sudden I can get wrapped up into nonsense. Like I can throw my life away. So I think the most important thing for any young person right now is take some time, look around, look online. You got access. Look for people that came from your situations and became something successful, and look at how they did it. And reach out to them, ask them how they did it, right? Everybody won't respond, but hopefully somebody will. But most importantly is, like, dream about what's possible, because that will keep you on that path.
Right. I think that's when you talk about creating more opportunities for Black and brown kids, mm-hmm. and in general, not just kids, but going up into adulthood, is really the fact that for whatever reason, systemic or otherwise, the lack of vision, mm-hmm. is a consequence of lack of opportunity. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if you're growing up in a certain way and you don't know anything else,
totally,
how do you create an environment or create a spark or something,
yeah.
that allows you to see, mm-hmm. that your life can be different than what it is now? And this is a lesson for everybody,
totally.
Right? Like the way that your life is right now doesn't have to be, and it won't be the way that it always is, because the only constant is change.
Yeah.
And so how do we create more opportunities, right, where you can see that your life can be something different? How can we give someone a glimpse into a life that is a divergent path, yeah. of where you are now? And I think about that a lot, and I hope that this podcast can be a resource for people to see.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. So one of the things that we used to do for the foundation in our launch program, which was our 6-week STEM program, is every week our STEM program would focus on a specific subject: aerospace, computer engineering, biomedical engineering, whatever. But we also, during that week, would have a field trip to see that actual subject in the real world. And so we would go to Google headquarters for when we did mobile programming. We would go to the aerospace museum. We would go to Henry Ford, and like we would try to expose these kids. Some of these kids never leave the city, right? We would try to actually expose them to these realities of like, this is a real future that this is something that's real that you can do with your life, right? Because most, like to your point, if I never see it, how can I even dream that? So, the challenge is, representation and exposure are important. So, those of us that have a platform, that have found success, whether that's as entrepreneurs or scientists or engineers or professors or, right, especially Black and brown people, we have an obligation to use that platform to inspire that next generation so that they know what's possible with their life.
Right. Yeah, I really love the work that you're doing there, and I'm grateful, to be a part of your journey and hopefully help support it in many ways.
Thank you.
I want to, it's funny because this is a founder and business, oriented podcast, and we're just getting to your startup. But I want to talk a little bit more about your founder journey, and specifically we can talk about your venture you're working on right now, Spin.Travel.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about why you started this company.
So look, Spin was founded on the premise that business travel is broken. I've probably done close to a couple hundred customer discovery calls on this at this point, and I don't know one person that actually enjoys the experience. So, the reality is we are passionate about travel, my wife and I, because of our experience. I traveled for my career for over a decade. She traveled for her career domestically for almost a decade, right? So we lived out of suitcases for the last decade, both of us. And when it came to building a venture in travel, right, something that we're passionate about, this, like, you can think about what you want to build, but the reality is you have to find like what the market needs. And so, Spin is really, I look at Amazon and like, I look at Jeff Bezos in the early days of Amazon when they sold books. Like, we love travel and we want to fix travel, and like, we're selling books right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, what's the first thing that you can kind of dominate and own the market in? Right?
Yeah, totally. And it has to be a business at the end of the day.
Right. It's got to solve a problem, and people have to be willing and able to buy it.
Exactly.
So what is it? So what is this? What is the problem, and how are you solving it?
So we have been pretty quiet. It's funny because I see a lot of people post like stealth startup, right? And so like, we're not a stealth startup, but we kind of are. We've announced that we're this company and we're using AI in business travel, but it's pretty mysterious because nobody really knows what that means. And I think that's because for a while we didn't know what that meant. So we're closing in on what we believe this product needs to be, especially early on. I can say that we're building essentially the first business travel intelligence platform that actually combines your travel with your business. So the reason business travel is bad, the business travel experience is bad, is because every tool that exists focuses only on booking, and it doesn't actually incorporate any of the purpose or information about what you do for your business into that process. That means that every bit of planning that goes into it and every bit of accounting and everything after it is left to you. So there's no way to build a truly intelligent business travel platform if you don't combine all of these things that are currently separated. So that's kind of like where we're going with this. I would say there's more to come, but we're working hard at really honing in on what that means.
That's cool. We don't have to go too much deeper into it for now, but it is really cool. I mean, you have lived experience with the problem, so you've got the makings of founder market fit, right? So now it's the battle to product market fit, right?
Totally.
I don't know if you knew this, but did you know that I interviewed Jeff Hoffman, the original CEO of Booking and Priceline.com?
I did not know that.
So I interviewed him on this show at GEC a few weeks ago.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe you could reach out to him, or maybe we could figure something off.
I'll send you a blurb for a warm intro for sure. Warm intros are the wave. I need one.
Yeah. So I mean, that would be interesting. I didn't know this, but and I don't know if many people know this, but he also he told me this, an inventor of the kiosks, check-in counters at
like
airports.
the automatic ones. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that might be an interesting connect for you.
Well, here we go. We're making moves on air right now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Why not, man? Let's do it. And then, I would look more into Airbnb too and what Brian Chesky and them are doing.
Yeah.
Have you seen all the stuff that they're...
The new experiences and everything? Yeah, totally.
Experiences in there.
Totally.
So...
Consumer travel is hard, I will say. I think we got our lumps from being in consumer travel, so we kind of like... we said, let's go over here to business travel. It's a lot more straightforward, and people are willing to pay for help, and a little bit less competition, too.
Yeah. Do you follow The Ringer?
I don't.
The Ringer podcast?
I don't.
So have you heard of Bill Simmons?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
So he was with ESPN for a long time. He ended up starting The Ringer. It's a podcast syndicate. They have non-sports shows, but I personally watch the basketball shows.
Naturally.
And I think, I can't remember his name, but one of the guests was on either his show or Zach Lowe's show, and he was talking about how during the NBA Finals, he basically wasn't using the business travel because he hated the experience.
Really?
Yeah. I'll send you the clip.
Nobody likes the experience.
But yeah. So, and you have ties in with NBA and stuff like that. So,
man, I gotta hire you.
Fly.
I gotta hire you. Let me drop the contract after this. Yeah.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, no, but I'm happy to tell your story. I'm happy to help where I can. We're doing it live. Who cares?
Yeah, totally.
Let's make.
But
make
that's what this
happen.
is about. I mean, like, for honestly, like, there's a lot of podcast and content, but like, it'd be nice to share how all of this stuff actually happens. I myself wondered that, and I spent a lot of time talking with other founders that have done it to figure out like what goes into it. So it'd be nice to like have that kind of conversation like on a podcast or like in some media form.
That's what makes this platform unique, right? So
yeah,
it's fun, man.
Yeah,
it's fun. We're gonna make stuff happen. Just watch. You'll come back on the show again in the future, and you'll be able to watch the episodes back to back and be like, damn.
Yeah.
That was a moment.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Love it, man. Yeah. All right. Well, we got to wrap soon here. Is there anything else that you feel like we didn't touch on that would be valuable for, the listeners, but ultimately something like on your heart, if anything's on your heart that you want to share?
Look, no, I wouldn't say so. The draft was last night.
Yeah. How did you feel about how that went down? Did anybody surprise you?
I thought Danny Wolf falling a little bit was surprising. But I don't know. I think fit matters more than anything.
Here we go.
Oh yeah.
Man, we're getting back into it.
I really like 7. I really like Jeremiah Fears. He torched us, but he is a heck of a player. I'm excited to watch him in the NBA for sure. Cooper Flagg. What he's not even he's supposed to be going to college this year, so it's crazy.
Do you think that he's like as legit as people are talking about him?
I think he has an extremely high floor.
Yeah.
Look, you're watching a kid last summer who should have been going to senior year of high school, playing with the best players on the planet, and being one of the top players on the floor.
Yeah.
Like, and not in a flashy way. So, like, as a pro, like, there's a difference between, like, a bunch of moves. Like, he's just naturally good. Like, he knows how to get to his spots, how to move, how to finish. He's just not, his shooting can improve, but he'll produce immediately.
Do you think the Mavericks are a contender with OKC and everything? And we didn't even talk, oh man, this episode could be a lot longer. But yeah, how did you feel about, how do you feel about the Mavericks competing with OKC and who else? Who else is in your top on the West?
I don't know. I'm interested to see how Houston looks with KD now.
Yeah.
They were good already. So Denver's in some trouble.
Yeah.
Golden State's in some trouble. I still think you get. I like the Lakers. I think they get the right pieces around Luka and LeBron. I mean, it's Luka and LeBron.
Yeah.
So I think they're a threat. That being said, Dallas, I want to see how Kyrie is when he comes back and how long it takes him to come back. Coming back from ACL is not easy. I came back from ACL. It takes time. And you can come back in 9, 10, 11, 12 months, but you don't feel like yourself for 18 months, right? It's a while. And then
we had a bunch of ACL blowouts in the league this year too, right?
Yeah. We had a record of Achilles, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
We had a record number of Achilles, which is crazy. And
Lillard.
I hate to see it. I mean, as an athlete, like a former pro, like I hate watching it. It just breaks your heart. Like Halliburton said, he worked his whole life to get to that moment for that to happen. Like, that's crazy. But that's sports, bro. Like so one of the things that I lived is like sports isn't fair. Life isn't fair. Sports is definitely not fair.
Do you think the Pacers were gonna beat the Thunder if they were healthy? I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing.
No. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I will say that Halliburton was off to a great start. He still led the game and made threes, even though he only played, I don't know, 8 or 12 minutes or something like that.
They were just on a tear, dude. I think they had the grit.
They had the grit, but OKC is a problem for a number of years. Their offense and defense is just too good.
Yeah.
So,
and I love it. So who's the black horse, or the black horse in
the dark
horse? Yeah,
Dark horse?
sorry. Dark horse in the West and in the East.
Dark horse in the West. I don't know. Let me think about that. I want to see the Rockets. They were like 3rd in the league last year. And now you swap out Jalen Green for KD, basically. I want to see the Rockets. In the East, Boston is down. The Pistons, dark horse in the East.
Let's go.
For sure.
Let's go.
Yeah. Cade take another step this year. You get Jaden Ivey back.
Yeah.
There'll be a problem for sure.
Do you have any friends in the Pistons organization?
I mean, I got a ex-teammate that plays for the Pistons, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Just because it's a dream to get a foot in the door there, man.
Oh, yeah. Now, I'll see what I can do. I feel like a number of people I got on my list that are trying to get jobs there. So yeah. I'll do what I can.
I don't need a job. I just want to be a part of it somehow.
Yeah, I got you. Maybe you interview somebody.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
Cool.
Awesome, dude. Well, thanks for joining the show.
Sir.
Appreciate you, and looking forward to continuing our relationship, but also following your journey and having you on in the future and sharing updates with the world.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate the support. And again, I hope I come back and have something cool to talk about.
You will, man.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining the show, Jordan.
Thank you, brother.